Hello, welcome back to the Game Room, where we are having a look at my Super Nintendo collection, purely just the game side of things, not the hardware side of things or the accessories as such, but just all the games. And the reason why I picked these up over the years, accumulated them if you like, and some of the memories to do with those as well. So let's go through them in no particular order. This one here is Illusion of Time, also known as Illusion of Gaia. I think that's how you pronounce it, over in the Americas. Yes, it is a quintet title. I just had to look it up because I could not remember off the top of my head. Released by Enix, apparently, so which would later then amalgamate, is that the word, with Square to make Square Enix. Illusion of Time, not as well spoken of as Terranigma. Terranigma is the big one because Terranigma was not released in America, so that's the one that people are often clamoring to get. But I ended up with Illusion of Time. I got it off eBay. It was a complete version, except the manual has seen better days. Mainly just the cover there. It's been sticky taped back together. That's how we like it. And then it's actually quite a thick manual. Have a look at that. And it's not like normally when you get these thick manuals, then they are they swap over in the different languages that might be handy to the people buying it in different regions. But that one's all English, and it is that thick. So I bought this one from the UK. So I got it. It was an auction, and I got it fairly cheap in that auction, just from placing a bid on and then letting it roll, seeing what had happened. Heard really good things about this one. Have not played it. Sorry if you hear any banging on the roof. That's the possums are going over at the moment, as they do every night. This one, Super Mario Kart. So this is one that when our family had the Super Nintendo, when it was fairly new, this was one of the games that we had straight away with our system. It is not the same version. I bought this one. I can't remember where I bought this one, but I know I bought it cheap. It was about $40 at the time, complete. Yeah, actually, I reckon I might have picked this one up from the market. And I've just noticed it's in is that a Nintendo 64 little box protector there? I'll have to look into that. Super Mario Kart was one of those games that it was terrific fun because it was co-op. I didn't even notice, to be honest, that the screen was always split. As in, like, I knew it was split, but I didn't realize that was for the kind of hardware capabilities at the time. And it used to have your racing up one part of the TV and the map down the other, and it just kind of enthralled you that much that you didn't care that you were racing half a screen, whether you're with a different player or not. It was such a fun game. The battle mode always got heated and was great fun, and the other racing mode was it felt more like a co-op mode than an actual competing against. This is my favorite Super Nintendo game. It is Super Smash TV. I like this better than the arcade. I've got an arcade that emulates all this type of stuff, and if I put on Smash TV, I usually put on the Super Nintendo version even on the arcade, just because of the limited lives and continues. When you're playing this one on the arcade, it gets to a point where you're just constantly putting in your free money with what it's like these days, as in with the emulation. So you can just kind of pay your way through, but this one gives you a real challenge. The Super Nintendo controller was really made for this type of game, where you had to have more buttons than your original Nintendo and things like that. So Super Smash TV, just having those 4 buttons, and they were in the great spots where you could shoot in the 4 different directions and then push them together to get 8 different directions of shooting. Just a blast, if you will. I've got that one complete. That one's in pretty nice condition. Bought this one off eBay at a good time for a good price. And it is one that, as I said, it is my favourite game on the Super Nintendo. So it's one that I've kind of cherished. There we go, little Woolworth sticker from back in the day. Used to go for, and I don't know why they would ever put that price tag there, but it is in pounds. So this one originally came from the UK. I'm guessing. I don't think it would be anywhere else that it would have come from. You can guess that this one came from the UK. Doom. Doom was a game that I asked for Christmas from. It's one as a kid that I really wanted to get for Christmas. We didn't have a personal computer or a PC at the time that this came out. And I had seen that it was coming out on Super Nintendo, and I knew what Doom was. I'd played it at friends and family's houses before on their computers, and I just needed this. I wanted it so bad. And when I got it for Christmas, I was just so excited about it. It is one that came with an extra price tag when it came out because it had a bit of extra hardware at the time, and that bit of hardware was a bit more expensive to develop. So it did have quite a expensive price tag when it first came out. It well and truly exceeded my expectations in terms of what the Super Nintendo could pump out. It is considered a poor version of Doom these days, understandably. But for the time, Doom was just everywhere and it was massive. To get a copy where you could get a down-res version and keep as much as it did was just the best. So I really loved that game, and I still love the artwork. I remember doing things like drawing almost like a little manual to do with the game, just because I was so infatuated by how cool of a game it was. ActRaiser. This is one that I bought from the UK off of eBay. My copy is beat up. It used to be some type of X-Rental. As soon as you see little stickers like that, and especially you can see it here. So it's got box damage and everything. But this is cool. This is one that I purchased and I played for quite a while. Not to the point where I finished it. I bet I could if I dedicated the time to it. But yeah, I've played for a few hours on this one and got a lot of fun out of it. Where did I see this? I reckon that Game Center CX was where I saw this to begin with, and just thought that it looked like a really cool and unique type of game that I would have really liked to have. So I was happy to pick that up complete, even in the condition that it was. And if you've watched any of my other collection videos, you'll know by now that I really like X-Rental stuff, and I like the wear that you get from on these type of things. Not that I'll go and wear, that doesn't mean I'll go and smash up my own copies, but I don't mind getting a copy like this if it's going to mean less price, and I really don't mind at all. It's kind of gives it a little bit more of a story or a bit of a history. Let's continue on with some other boxes with wear. Donkey Kong Country. This was a very cool game. Didn't have it back in the days of when I was a kid with the Super Nintendo, but a family friend of ours did, and playing it around there, I was just kind of like blown away by the graphics that came with the Donkey Kong Country games, and all of them seemed really cool fun. The music was great. As I know now, it is a Rare title, as in the game developer Rare, and they just did these amazing things with the Super Nintendo that just made it very different than any other game kind of brought out before it. So this one, I don't know if it's an X-Rental. This one, it doesn't seem like it. Just seems like it's a beat up copy. It's an Australian one though. It's got the G rating on it. It's funny that the Super Nintendo must have been the time when the ratings board came and decided that some of the games in Australia needed that. Not all of them had it, so it must have been these later releases. Donkey Kong Country, this was an ex-rental. This is one that I think I got from, there's a bit of Velcro there where they must have stuck something, the rental store. This is one where I got this for cheap off of eBay as well. I wanted all 3 of the Donkey Kong Country games because I think I got number 3 first, and then I worked my way backwards, I'm pretty sure. This one is from Warp Drive Games Australia. I do not know where that is, but being a 59 or an 03 number, I know it's in Victoria somewhere. Yeah, I never looked it up to see where it had come from. I do not have a favourite as such. I remember playing through, I think I have beat a few of these. Like, as in, I think I beat 2 out of 3. I don't think I've beat all 3. But that was many years ago, and I haven't really gone back and used these since buying them. This one is an ex-rental. Back in the day where some of the rental places used to stick these in a VHS clamshell. Which I'm so surprised that the cartridges are in such good nick for ex-rentals. But there we go. Manuals there. Usually they photocopied those rather than putting them in. A lot of people do not like this one because of whatever the baby Kong's name is. Kiddy Kong. People do not like this one because of the Kiddy Kong edition. I actually thought that was a really good game, and I actually didn't mind that whatsoever. Here's my Super Mario All-Stars box. I was joking with Retro Ed a little while ago that he has worried me about this box. I bought this one from the UK because I wanted a box copy. I knew that they were released in PAL, and that a box copy of Super Mario All-Stars was not something that you could find in the NTSC regions. So I wanted a box copy of these. Because I bought it at, it must have been in, what is it now? It must have been in about 2013 that I purchased this, maybe 2014. And there wasn't many people looking for this box copy back when I bought it. So I found one in the UK. I couldn't find it in Australia. Found one in the UK and I purchased it, and it arrived like it is. But then it is strange. So this is probably the oddity of my collection, where it doesn't have, like, it's not a great fit of a box, but it seems to have the wear of the age. It also, I've only found one online that has all the same markings as mine, and it was too hard to tell whether that, like, the box was fake. I don't know. I tend to think that it is real. And it is not one from Australia, even though Australia had this release as well. But this one it says from the UK, and is it I? I am ignorant to that. Pardon me. So, yeah, I think this one is real. Retro Ed has me scared because he said he hasn't seen many over there, and I thought that they were commonplace over in the UK. Anyway, that fun stuff aside, let's move on. This is my Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. I wanted a whole bunch of Zelda things. I've never actually played much of this game at all. And I thought I'll buy it. I'm going to use the map. I want it complete. I'm going to use the hint book. I'm going to do it how I would back in the day. This one's in such nice condition. So I purchased it all. I purchased a really nice copy. Again, off of eBay. It is an Australian release. It is one that looks like, the map has hardly been opened at all. It's got the top secret book in there. That one looks like it's had a little bit of use. The manual is still crispy. Oh, super crispy. And then it has the map and things in it as well. And yeah, I haven't got around to it. And I've had this one again for about 10 years and never I don't even know if it's even hit the system. So I played through, at the time I had played through and beat the NES versions, not versions, but the two NES Zelda games. And it's sat in its box. I'll have to get it out one time. I won't be using it with all those extra little, pretty little extras because, yeah, the price of this one's just gone up too much to even want to bring those things out too much. Really nice copy. I'm sure the game's awesome. I am absolutely sure of it, but just have not got around to it. Okay, it's Christmas. I keep my spares, or not my spares, but my loose cartridges in here. My little Christmas gift box. It's just a nice fit for how many games that I have. So let's go through my loose ones. I'll leave that to last because I've got the manual there. Here we have Final Fight. I remember purchasing... Actually, let's go back a little bit further. I remember playing this one in... I reckon it was Marimbula. They had like a Top Fun, or I think the arcade was called Top Fun or something. It looked like a bit of a circus tent. And they had the Final Fight game. And after playing that game there as a kid, I was just hooked. Especially playing as Hager and the sounds of the game. That every strike sounds so good. It sounds so heavy. It sounds like, things are connecting. The music in it is amazing. The graphics in it were top notch. It was just one of those games that just absolutely blew me away. I bought this game as an ex-rental, and I bought it for next to nothing. I think it was $15. It had the box. The manual was not there, so it had the box and the game, and I sold it and knew that I wanted to get it back when I got it back into when I got into collecting, and picked this one up. It's now a lot more expensive than it was. The Super Nintendo version was so good. It gets a bit of hate because of its one player only, but what a one player game. It's just awesome. Mystical Ninja, I bought this one from the UK over eBay, and so the Legend of Mystical Ninja. I bought it for $50. I knew it was good at the time. I bought it ages ago, and it is a really cool game. I haven't played enough of it. I've only really played the first few levels again and again, and not much else. It is a really cool beat 'em up with some light RPG elements and blah blah blah. It's really fun. ActRaiser 2, another eBay purchase. Most of my games are eBay purchases when it comes to Super Nintendo, just because that was the easiest way to get them. ActRaiser 2 took away the RPG elements and just left the action. Doesn't get a lot of love because of that, but the artwork, so what you call it, the graphics and the art direction of ActRaiser and ActRaiser 2 in particular is just such a cool concepts going on, such cool design going on, and the sound's top notch as well. It moves like you're walking through mud, but it's a lot of fun. This one I got done on. This was I think it was a Gumtree purchase back in the day, which is kind of like a Craigslist, an American Craigslist, but it's Australian Gumtree. Went to the person's house, picked this up with a bunch of games, and this is the main reason that I wanted it. Battletoads and Double Dragon, and got it home. It did not work, and the traces had been messed with, like as in somebody got something in, and instead of cleaning it, they'd just like scratched it so bad that it wouldn't play. So I managed to solder those together so that it's in a playable state, and it does work. It's just not pretty. It's got a bit of sticker residue and stuff on there anyway. Not as good as I remember hiring. I'm pretty sure I hired, like I definitely played it, but I'm pretty sure I played it through hiring the NES version. The NES version, something about the controls. It is way tighter on the NES version than this one. This one's a bit sloppy. Didn't like it as much, which is strange because with the graphical upgrade, you'd think that that is the way to go. But I would recommend the NES version is the way to play. Harvest Moon, I remember playing this with my mate Ash, who's one of the only mates that's been on my channel. He and I played this for hours and hours when hiring it. Just one of those games that kind of took us by surprise, that you could have this completely different experience than anything else on the system. Farming to your heart's content, going out and meeting the local townsfolk, and then having all these little side quests, I guess you'd call them, side quests given to you through conversations and trying to remember things, trying to remember what time of the year you need to do certain things. Different things would be blocked off to do with the weather, or you couldn't do them. It was just, and then designing your farm the way you wanted it. It was really felt super open-ended, but at the same time, you could perfect your runs if you wanted to, because I think you get like 3 years. Is that right? You get like 3 years to do the best farm you can, but you could perfect your run like a Groundhog Day type situation on this game, even though it feels super open-ended. Mine has a fair bit of wear because when I was trying to pick this one up, it's always been an expensive game ever since game collecting kind of became bigger. So even maybe 8 years ago, it was still an expensive game, which is why I grabbed it in the condition that I did from the UK. Still about just under $120 back then. Demon's Crest, this is one of the most expensive games that I have purchased, and this is shameful. It's hardly touched the system. So buy this game that's super expensive. I think I might have paid $160 at the time. And yeah, I've played through and I have beat and I own Gargoyle's Quest 1 on the Game Boy, Gargoyle's Quest 2, and Demon's Crest is the third. I am yet to play very much of it. I need to. Super Street Fighter 2. This is one that I bought from a vintage antique store, even though you wouldn't really call these. Maybe you would. I don't know. But they had a game section. I bought this one for, I think it was $40. Yeah, I think I paid $40 for this one. It is really good. Super Street Fighter 2 does a few things that just the normal Street Fighter doesn't, but the main thing is that it has those new characters. It's a great game. NBA Jam. This one's Tournament Edition. I had the regular when I first had my Super Nintendo. Yeah, NBA Jam Tournament Edition just kind of pips the original just because of the extras that it includes, which I can't really tell you at the moment. I think it has different roster. I'm not sure what else, if it tightened the gameplay up or whatnot. You imagine it would. And the last one I have here is my Battletoads in Battle Maniacs. This one I bought from the market. Came with the manual. It was an ex-rental from Top Video in Torquay down on the coast, famous for Bells Beach. It is a really cool game. So I love Battletoads, and this is a great game as well. I wouldn't have paid much for that, and it is a cracker. So that is it. That is my Super Nintendo collection. It is pretty humble in comparison to a couple of my other collections, but it is one that I really just kind of stopped getting as soon as the Super Nintendo Mini came out, just because once I had that one and once I was able to hack it to have everything on there, then that was the best way to play these games, I feel, and I felt and I feel. So I stopped purchasing anything to do with Super Nintendo. And here they lie. not really well used because of that mini system. That mini system is just so good. Anyway, if you're interested in my other collections, then I have a bunch of those that I've filmed already. If you would like to see more, then please subscribe, because I will bring out some more. I know that I have been they've been few and far between, but I'm just about to film my second one while I'm sitting here, so I'll schedule that one. Once you see this one, the other one's not too far behind. So thank you for watching the Game Room. Make sure you subscribe, because that's what we need to do.